wife was not happy when I told her I had the video at 6.
My wife was also not happy.
I know, but she makes plans and
same.
She's still,
it's a Saturday. Even though our days are kind of like all the same, other human beings have weekends.
Gonna go talk sports with your friends. Okay. That sounds good. We're ready to go now. So, do I get 5 on the hands? Jordan Klein style.
All right, we'll go 5 on the hands.
All right, Stochastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac here with the take 2 because we missed take 1. Belman and I were intently getting all of our screens up, getting ready for the show, but here we are. We have a very compressed slate, 7 games going off in the first 20 minutes. Then there's the Coors Field, have a little bit of weather there, and then the Mariners Houston Astros is the nightcap tonight. So not a lot of offense expected in that game. We shall see. Anything can happen when it comes to baseball. How did your last week go, Matt? It's been almost a whole week here without you.
It has been a whole week, but it was the All-Star break for a lot of it. So really only MLB yesterday. The break went well. Family stuff. We did some stuff around the house. Did you do anything fun with the days of MLB off?
Yes, I did my day job. That tends to coincide with literally my busiest week of the year, so it works out well. I usually log on around 5:30, log off around 10 o'clock. My wife went out to visit my family out in the state of Washington. Now she's in California with her friend. They did a half marathon today, and now they're enjoying wine country for the next couple days on a girls' weekend. So it's me and the dog. So very, very exciting here. So yeah, nothing exciting. Last night I went to bed. I thought I was losing. I woke up this morning and winning because I did a late stack on the late slate of Yahoo with 3 of the guys who hit home runs in that Oakland game. And then my Colorado ticket came through. They ended up winning there. So it was a nice little, I had a nice little night while I was asleep. I woke up to a pretty good day. I saw those notifications. I'm like, well, what the hell happened? It's good times. Good times.
That's always a real good feeling, especially when you don't expect it. So good day to be you.
Yeah, except main slate Yahoo. I see Sotex is in chat. Slipped from 6th to 10th in the Yahoo season-long contest. For a brief moment, I was in 5th, but there are still, I think, 10 weeks to go on that one. So we shall see. We shall see. Let's see here. Let's talk a little bit about the weather. We have the potential for some showers in Colorado. That seems to be the most likely spot for rain. The Atlanta game was postponed last night. It looks like there's rain in the area, but it's not going to arrive until sometime between 10 and 11 in Atlanta. Now, there's always a chance a storm could come early. It's the summer humidity storm, so they could coalesce and end up coming a little bit early. But we will have to see. But otherwise, I'm not letting that drive any of my decisions. Are you worried about the weather at all?
I'm not worried about the weather in Atlanta. I am kind of worried about it in Colorado, though. It's the only game I think where you have real potential concerns. So it's at least worth monitoring, if nothing else.
Yeah. Let me think here. What happens if I put in weather in motion while we are
especially because San Fran's going to be really popular anyways. So just another reason to maybe think about getting off them. Nothing else.
It's not a bad way to go here. So I'm just gonna look at weather.com weather in motion here. It does look like there are going to be some storms. So Denver's kind of in a valley, or the valley's not the right word considering it's a mile high, but more or less a valley with mountains all the way around it. So it can catch and keep those weather systems within it, and they just kind of circle around. So if one tends to get going, that's when they get kind of socked in. I'm just looking here. It doesn't seem like anything's going to hit till about 9:30 or 10 o'clock local time. That will still be probably before the game is over. Now, we do know that they tend to wait these things out in Denver, a little more patient and we've seen them play in some crazy stuff anyway. So it's just something to keep an eye on there. One of the things I did notice, let's stick on that game for just a second. So another reason you may want to consider going in another direction on that one is Kyle Freeland has actually been pretty good. So he missed about 2 months with shoulder soreness. He's come back. I think he's made 4 starts, 2 at home. 1 was in Cincinnati. And I think he got to play against the White Sox in one of them as well. But he's had 4 really good starts. I just get a little bit nervous when you see those 6 run totals there. Now you got a little bit of the weather. Anything can happen in Coors Field, but we have seen less runs this year pretty much across the board in Major League Baseball because they're tweaking the ball again. But that would be one reason to potentially tell yourself a story to shy away from. But that's really all I've got for that game. Shall we dive in and start talking some fun here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go to pitching because that's where we like to start. Let's take it from the top here, Matt. We've got George Kirby as a strong option, Framber Valdez as a pretty solid option as well. And then Singer checks in with a great matchup against the White Sox. Do you have a favorite amongst that trio at the top?
Do I have a favorite up top? Not really. I think a lot of these guys look pretty comparable. I think my least favorite is Singer. I understand it. He's cheap and he's facing the White Sox at home, but there are just so many pitchers better than him on this slate. So I think he's my least favorite. I like Kirby. Don't love the matchup. Same thing with like Lopez and Peralta and Cease and Sonny Gray, to be quite honest. I would think Gallen's in the best matchup of the expensive guys, but he's not in great form right now. I don't love any of them. Kind of like last night. There's a bunch of good pitchers on this slate, but not a lot in really good DFS spots.
So let's start with Singer here. So he's someone let me go see if he is in my my Yahoo cash game lineup. He is not in my DraftKings. He's not in my DraftKings cash game lineup. I'm going with Kirby and Valdez. But the key things that we like about Singer here, now his last start was abbreviated. He only lasted 2 2/3 innings against Boston. He had one other bad start that was back at the very beginning of June. He had a 3.2 inning outing as well. Otherwise, in 10 other starts this season, he has allowed just 1 earned run, and in an 11th start, he had a 7 shutout inning. So he's ranked 21st in ERA. He's having a pretty solid season. The key things to know about how bad Chicago is, they have scored 28 fewer runs than Miami. So that has Miami, who is the second worst offense in the league, scoring 3.52 runs per game. Chicago is scoring 3.17. Let that sink in for just a second. So remember last year we were complaining about Oakland and just loved picking on them. Last year they were the worst team in the league with 3.61 runs per game. So this year's White Sox are almost half a run behind that. And then Detroit was what we were saying is mostly against righties, but was an epically bad team with a 3.44 runs per game. Again, the White Sox are well below that. This is just an epically awful team. So that is something that I find comforting in looking at Singer and sort of giving him a mulligan for just having two really bad starts. Now, yeah, one did come in his last one before the break, but I don't want to hold that against him too much. So he is coming into prominence for me. If you're parsing out Kirby and Valdez, what is your leans for those guys?
Probably Kirby. He's just a better pitcher at this point. Like, it sets up as a better matchup for Valdez because of the strikeout upside against Seattle. But I do prefer going against the Mariners with right-handed pitching. So Valdez has been very, very shaky this year. I like Kirby more. Don't love him here. The ownership is there, but I understand it because you can poke holes in pretty much all the expensive guys, which ultimately makes me kind of like Cease, Grayson Rodriguez, because they're not getting love. But I do think the guys getting love are in better spots, even if they're not in great spots.
Let's see. It is. Oh, sorry. I see Sotex that I thought he was saying we had sound issues. No, he's having some fun there. All right. So here are my thoughts on Valdez. So Valdez had that 3 years ago, had that crazy season with about a 70% ground ball rate. Last year, it dropped to about 55. Last year was the year he had the no-hitter, I think. But his strikeouts were way up last year. This year, his strikeouts are down. They're actually the lowest over the last 5 seasons, and down 2 per 9 from last year, and about 1.5 per 9 from his career. But his ground ball rate's back up just above 60%. So I want to call out the Seattle Mariners because officially today, this afternoon, Tampa Bay passed them. Tampa Bay won 9-1 this afternoon. Seattle has now scored the 3rd fewest runs in the league this season. Can you believe that, Matt? How are they in playoff contention? Well, they've got 3 pitchers in the top 10 for quality starts. It's a good beginning, a good foundation there. But this Seattle lineup is kind of anemic. Now, where we get a little nervous with Valdez because his strikeout rate is down a little bit. The Mariners lineup that they're putting out there tonight has pretty relatively low strikeouts, about a 23% strikeout rate against lefties, lower than the league leading K-Happy bunch that we're used to seeing. And if we look at the whole active roster, that's about 2% below. So the things that where you get worried about Valdez is if the Mariners can string hits together, but they don't have any fearsome bats. We're looking at Julio Rodriguez, who may get to 20 home runs this year, which is just crazy to think about. So I kind of like Valdez there. Kirby, second season in a row, he's leading the league in walks per 9, as in fewest walks per 9, as well as strikeouts per walk. It's nuts. He does challenge hitters. He does give up a home run here or there, but he does not allow base runners. So he can mostly survive. He doesn't have to go against Kyle Tucker. I don't mind because people say, oh, we're going to do your cash game. I don't mind, as I'm doing in DraftKings, pairing both of them and hoping for the win. I think the win tonight's probably going to go to the bullpen because I think it's going to be a close game. And I don't see one. I don't know who would break out over the other. It's our lowest scoring game of the night, but maybe you get a chance of boxing now there. But those are the 3 pitchers I like the most. And I dug into it for a couple hours this morning because it's fun having all the aces or frontline starters kind of coalescing now with the All-Star break.
Yeah, that's kind of why I struggle with Singer and Valdez here, is because they're not as good as the top pitchers on this slate. That being said, like, they're in the best matchups, so it kind of evens out. Everyone priced above them is in a tough spot. So it makes sense. If weather weren't a thing, I would like Logan Webb at 7,600.
Let's talk about that then, because I don't think weather's the thing, at least for his six innings he should be able to get through before the weather shows up.
Yeah, I mean, I always you never know there, like when the rain's going to come in, how long innings take. But if we're playing it like that game is going to play, I think he's just too cheap for his talent level. Same price as Brian Bayo against the Dodgers. Yeah, I obviously prefer Webb at home. Don't love him in cores ever, but still the Rockies. He's a much better pitcher than they are offense. And frankly, he's a better pitcher than Singer or Valdez. I mean, as far as real life pitching goes, he's in that upper echelon. Not a great DFS pitcher because he doesn't get a ton of Ks, but it's a good spot for him and he's cheap. I am worried about the weather here. Just, a delay of any point, a long delay, this game playing at all. Yeah, I don't know. But if it's good to go, I think he's for sure in play for me.
So fun thing about that, remember, we would get, if it goes 6 and they end up calling it for weather, and the Giants win and he pitches the whole game, he does get a complete game for that on DraftKings.
A lot of ifs in that statement. You know what they say about ifs.
Something about wishing in one hand and shitting in the other. See which one
you could have taken
first.
You could have taken that any which way you wanted, but yes.
Oy, good times. Good times. Oh, before we dig in a little more to Lopez and Peralta here, I got to mention the Underdog Fantasy. They are the sponsor of the show today. Key things that you need to know about Underdog is you get up to a $50 deposit match when you come in through our link here. I'm sure producer Mike can throw that into the chat there. Fun things over on Underdog. They've got all the pick'em contests. They've got season-long best ball for all the sports, playoff best ball for all of the sports, and then pick'ems. So fun things that they have there already is the best ball for NFL. They just launched a bunch of MLB ones for the remainder of the season during the All-Star break, and then they launched a college football best ball product as well, which I have not even looked at, didn't even consider it, but now I got to start thinking about that. We have free content here at Stochastic for best ball. All you got to do to access that is just have a Stochastic account. You do not need to have a subscription, just a Stochastic account, and you will be able to access all of our best ball information that is being produced by the one and only Matt Gajeski. So, hey, $250 deposit match, or put in 500, they'll match you 50% up to 250. Pretty good deal. When I signed up at Underdog, it was only a $25 deposit match. Got to take advantage of these things when they are available. I'm about 30 best ball drafts in already on Underdog, doing the slow ones. They're a lot of fun. They have all sorts of price points as well. You can get in for $2 or $3 all the way into their ones that are a couple $1,000s. Their big main event is Best Ball Mania 5. I believe that is a $20 entry point, if I remember correctly, or 25. 25. I'm playing the puppies. It's a Saturday night playing with the puppies. Nothing wrong with that, if you know what I mean there. But you can do the slow draft or you can do the quick draft right now because they just launched one of each. But check it out. That is Underdog. All right, Peralta and Lopez. Strong pitchers, coming off good years, not having the best years this season. Matt, does this worry you at all for either one of them? Not in the best current form.
You said Peralta and Lopez, I assume?
Lopez, yes.
Yeah, it does concern me. I mean, they're not in great spots. I would say Peralta's in the better spot on paper, but neither of them have shown, a ton of the perceived upside that we know they have, or at least they've been more inconsistent in doing so in the case of Peralta. I do expect Lopez to turn it around. His underlying numbers suggest that he suffered from pretty bad bad luck in the first half of the season. Peralta, I'm always interested in because of his strikeout upside. And he's the type of guy, there's a few guys like this around the league where I almost don't care about the matchup. If he's on, he's going to strike out a ton of guys. If he's off, he's going to get in his own head and walk a ton of guys. So I think that he looks good as far as an upside perspective goes. I don't think he looks substantially better than the other pitchers around him. And I could see getting to Lopez here. The more I think about Lopez, the more I like him. He's cheaper than all the other pitchers we've talked about. The matchup with Milwaukee isn't good, but it's not good for any of these guys. And he's still a really good pitcher, especially for DFS purposes. I know that 5.11 ERA might scare you off, but 3.44 expected, and this is a proven commodity. This isn't a guy that just had one good year. I mean, he's coming into this season, easy top 10 starter in baseball. So maybe he's fallen off a little bit below that, but I expect his second half to be good. The more I talk about this, the more I like Lopez.
All right. I'm just looking to see a little bit more about Brooks Lee here. He is batting cleanup.
He's one of the Twins' top prospects. He's been, up for a little bit.
Yep, he's the third ranked prospect for the Twins, 45th overall. You can find this information over on FanGraphs. He has played in 11 games. He has 48 plate appearances, 2 home runs, 9 RBI, 1 stolen base here. Projects out for very limited steals. Didn't really have a lot in the minors, just 8 total in his minor league career. Let's see his hit power, his raw power is okay. The rest of it is okay. He is gonna be more of a utility guy. He can play shortstop. He can play in a pinch. He can play shortstop. He can also play third base. So, but still not too shabby of a player profile. He got a $5.7 million signing bonus. So, while not for DFS purposes, he's pretty good for baseball purposes. So,
and I'll say this
cleanup tonight.
I know you talked about the Valdez Kirby pairing. I kind of like that with Peralta and Lopez. Same principles apply. You're boxing in the potential win even more, doubling your chances. And another spot where this could be a pitcher's duel. Now, I think that Peralta, this game has more offensive upside than the Mariners Astros game does because of the ballpark, etc. But Peralta and Lopez are better DFS pitchers than Kirby and Valdez. I don't even think that's a question.
All right. Boots on the ground here. Mile High 5280 says he's in Denver. The weather is fantastic. We should also ask Elway's Army what's up there. I see he is in chat. So I see Zippy's in there. Got a lot of the rigs. Chris Williams dropping in those YouTube subscriptions as always. We mentioned So Toxic is in there. We've got Steven Leibowitz. Just want to say hello, everybody. We appreciate you all jumping on in here on a Saturday night. Of course, it looks like the MLB is flipped over to more evening games for Saturdays going forward. So that should be fun, because we've had kind of those 5 to 6 game slates. So it looks like we're going to see a little bit more. There's still going to be afternoon baseball, but not quite that collection of games going on at 4 o'clock, like Eastern, like there has been there. All right. Want to mention anything about Zach Gallen? Anybody else here?
I like Gallen a lot. He crushed me on the afternoon slate last weekend. He got destroyed by the Blue Jays, actually, last game before the break. So I'm not playing him because of that, but he is also not in great form on the road here. Yeah, I don't hate it because, again, you can poke holes in all these guys. I put him in the same category or the same bucket as Kirby, Lopez, Peralta. I think Cease and Sonny Gray belong in that bucket also. So do Grayson Rodriguez. It's hard to differentiate from these guys because none of them are in pristine spots.
Yeah, Max Scherzer. We have not even spoken that name yet. He is giving up home runs, 5 home runs in 27 innings, but just 9 earned runs total there. We know he challenges hitters. He is striking out, not at his apex power anymore, 23 and 27 innings. He, of course, just turned, next week he will be turning 40. He will be turning 40 on July 27th. So, but he has had a long and illustrious career, so that he's kind of interesting. Rodriguez, we know that despite being the world champions, Texas has struggled somewhat on offense. Now, a little bit of that has been injuries. Of course, Corey Seager has missed a couple different stints. Josh Jung I don't think he's played, or did he get hurt in the opener? I can't remember now, but he's been out. So they're scuffling a little bit. You got Rodriguez got touched up last Saturday, gave up 6 runs, 3 home runs to the New York Yankees. No real shame in that. The Yankees are still pretty good for this one, but he's getting his strikeouts. You've got 23 in his last 17 innings on the season. He has 112 and 99 innings. Those all bode well. So yeah, a lot of choices here. A lot of choices on that. The only other one, do you know which team has the best record in all of Major League Baseball?
Philly.
Are you sure? Oh, you are correct.
Cleveland has the best record in the AL, though.
In the AL. Yeah. I knew I could sneak that one by.
Nah.
But it's close. It's close. Cleveland's 2.5 games behind Philadelphia. Baltimore's just 3 behind Philly. The Yankees are 4.5 behind. Dodgers are 5.5 behind, despite an entire starting rotation being hurt. So we're going to talk about that as we flip on over to pitchers we don't like. But any final thoughts here on pitching?
No. It's just interesting. Cease isn't getting any love, speaking of Cleveland, and I struggle to get there too. Maybe the toughest spot of all the pitchers. He's really expensive. He is probably the best overall pitcher as far as DFS goes on this slate. I think it was me and you talking. He was throwing, or no, it might have been Ian Lofty. He had come into his start on Sunday with like 2 pitches over 100 in his career. He threw multiple in that start against the Braves. He was averaging much higher than he does on the season. I always hesitate with guys like that in their next start. Now, he's elite enough where it probably doesn't matter, but just in my back pocket, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, we were talking about that last Sunday because I remember.
Yeah, that was because he pitched Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah, and he had first strike on his first 8 batters. I remember I brought that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I was watching the game. So, but pretty good there. Hey, Stephen Leibowitz, what's up? Swaggy P is in there. Hey guys, hit that like button. Help us out here. Of course, we also have our podcast channel. You guys may have forgotten about that, but putting out all sorts of content, and we're going to have some NFL content out coming here before you know it. You also get all the good stuff there on the Odd Shopper podcast channel, especially as we head towards football season here. Keep that in your back pocket because college football is about 5 weeks away. At this point, you're going to get Ben Rossa and Matt Kajeski talking all things college football. So dust that off. Don't forget, I know we're in the doldrums right now, but we're about 5 weeks away from college football. And we are 46 days away from the NFL. I remember the countdown clock I saw earlier today on Twitter, 47 days, something like that. It's not that far away. So again, get in on those best balls, get in on that underdog action. A lot of fun over there. And we have the free best ball content. All right. We got 25 minutes to lock. It's a 7:05 lock tonight, everybody. So you want to keep that in mind. Who do you have for your top stacks tonight?
That is 35 minutes. 35 minutes.
35 minutes. Sorry. I'm going to have to get myself a pair of readers. This is not good. This is not good when I can't see the giant screen next to me.
The fact that you call them readers. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, when I was a kid, you know what they were called? They were called bifocals. We're not
I
going there.
I didn't even know they had classes at that point.
Well, we had to hold them on with a string, kind of like me and Ben Franklin kind of came up with that idea.
Okay. Yeah. And now you're doing DFS shows with me. What a life.
What a life.
So yeah, I'm a little bit more worried about the rain in Colorado than you are, but the Rockies the Giants look like the best offense on the slate. I know Freeland's in good current form, but we know who he is. He's not an awful pitcher by any means, but he's not a great pitcher. He, allows contact, obviously an awful ballpark for pitching. So San Fran gets about as big of a ballpark upgrade as you can get. The weather has me a little bit scared, but I think it should play. It should be good for bats. That seems pretty obvious, though. They're by far the top team in the top stack tool. There are plenty of other offenses to look at. I also like St. Louis. I don't think Bryce Elder's very good.
Mhm.
St. Louis looks good on the other side of him. Never mind picking on Kyle Hendricks against Arizona. So Arizona's in play for me. KC seems to be the one team that's getting a little bit too much love, them and the Dodgers, actually. So, maybe I'm not overly excited about getting there, but all in all, I think a bunch of offenses are in play here. Again, bunch of good pitchers on this slate, but a lot of them are in tricky spots, meaning that the offenses could get to them. And I'm sure we're going to see that happen in a few spots tonight.
All right, key things to know about Kansas City. They were and no surprise here, and that's where the top stacks tool ended up, as you mentioned. They're kind of the pivots away from Coors Field here. You've got Bobby Witt Jr., you have Vinny Pasquantino, and then Sal Perez. Those guys are the boppers. They all are doing rather well. Hunter Renfroe profiles very well against Jonathan Cannon here. You also have see in the lineup. Yeah, Mikael Garcia, 22 stolen bases this year. Bobby Witt, 22 stolen bases. The team has the 7th most, but most of it's concentrated in those guys. And then I'm blanking on, is it Dario or Darren? They have an outfielder that comes off the bench and pitch runs.
Tyron Blanco.
Yeah, Blanco. He has. I don't think he made he didn't make the lineup tonight. Kyle Isabel's in there, but the team is not afraid to run there, especially with those guys. So that's always good to consider when you're stacking. You've got Jonathan Cannon was not really expected to be up this season, but the White Sox have had to put him and Drew Thorpe into the lineup. I would guess Cannon may go back to the minors when Mike Clevenger comes back. I think he's due back in the next week or two here, but that is Cannon doesn't have a lot of strikeouts. He does an okay job of limiting home runs, but he does not have a high ground ball rate either. So he doesn't have a lot of innings above AA. So he's kind of learning on the job here. So that's kind of a tough spot for him. But the White Sox are probably my favorite team outside of Coors Field, followed by the Dodgers. 4:00 game.
Wait, did you say the White Sox?
I'm sorry, I meant the Royals.
The Royals. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I was thrown off.
No, not the White. Poor White Sox. No, not after I went about how epically bad they've been for their scoring.
Confirm.
Yes, absolutely. I'm kind of like in the Dodgers next. Do you have thoughts on the Dodgers?
I always like the Dodgers. Looks like they are getting a little bit too much love.
Yeah.
After the Giants, there's a logjam between the Cardinals and the Dodgers. I like all the teams in between there: Cards, Diamondbacks, Royals, Dodgers, Red Sox. And then after that, there's another drop. So yeah, I never mind the Dodgers. They're expensive. I don't think Bayo is bad, but he's kind of the prototypical gets strikeouts, but also gives up home runs type of guy. So yeah, I'm fine with the Dodgers. Don't love them. Don't dislike them here.
Yeah, Bayo has been, for the season, he's averaging just over a strikeout per inning, but they've been all over the place. I think in his last 4 starts, he had, I'm going from memory, like 2, 6, 11, 5, something like that. So Bayo is someone I think we can kind of pick on here. The challenge with the Dodgers, they're down to a core 4. That's what happens when you got no Max Muncy now. Jason Hayward is on the injured list. Obviously, Mookie Betts. You have Gavin Lux is just playing like ass. It's shocking that if Chris Taylor didn't have his contract and wasn't so good at playing pretty much every position on the diamond, he probably would be gone at this point. James Outman has just been horrible after last year showing a lot of power when he had the platoon advantage. This year in 114 at-bats against righties, he has just a 127 isolated power, a 247 WOBA. Those are horrible numbers. He's striking out 36% of the time. Andy Pajes is and then you got glove guy Miguel Rojas. The biggest fear with the Dodgers is that back of the lineup goes 3 up, 3 down. And they hold the top of the lineup to just 4 at-bats. That could be a problem in this game. That's how bad the back of this lineup is. How do you feel about the Red Sox on the other side here, going against another rookie? Got some rookies on the mound tonight here. This is Justin Robleski. This will be his third start of the season. I recommended taking the under on his 5.5 strikeouts. You could have got that this morning, courtesy of OddsShopper at -140. That was a pretty good wager that was out there. I mentioned the whole starting lineup whole starting rotations out for the Dodgers. That's Glasnow, Clayton Kershaw, Yamamoto, Walker Buehler, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May. They sent Bobby Miller down to the minors. Spend $1 billion this offseason and not really have a lot to show for it other than fourth best record in the league here. But with Robleski, this will be his third start. His first 2 starts, literally mirror images of each other. 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 home runs, and 4 strikeouts in each. That's pretty wild. One was on the road, one was at home. He's probably got about 80, 85 pitch count on this one. I was trying to figure out who I liked from Boston. It really comes down to Tyler O'Neill. Jamie Westbrook, I think he's $7 on Yahoo. If you're playing over there, that's not a bad way to go for an extreme discount dandy. Rafael Devers, always good against everybody. But can you get excited about Rob Refsnyder? Can you get excited about Dom Smith? I don't know. Can you? 4:00 game in Los Angeles, going to be about 90 degrees.
No, I can't get excited about them, but you can get excited about the spot they're in, facing Robleski, who's been bad, doesn't project to be great right now. So, yeah, I think if you're stacking Boston, those guys are fine. And the top of their lineup always looks good. Devers, Duran, Refsnyder's not great, but he's leading off. So Tyler O'Neill in the middle of that lineup. I think Boston's more than viable here.
All right, Chris Williams, the Apple guy, making it rain everywhere. He just discovered a new feature here, Super Chats on playback. So he's giving Sotex a shout out there. Nice. Thank you, Chris. You're everywhere. Very nice. Very nice. Colorful, if you will. All right, let's talk Coors Field. You mentioned you kind of thinking about Webb. I mentioned at least some not so bad things about Kyle Freeland. How you feel about this game? The weather, a little scary. What is your lean now? You've had 15 minutes to ruminate on this.
Yeah, I mean, my lean is I think I'm gonna play it. It's obviously not the safest game in the world, but I think Webb is too cheap for his talent level, and I think the Giants are by far the best stack on the board. So I'm not totally in on that yet. I'm only playing one lineup tonight. As of now, I'm playing Webb and the Giants, but I could easily get off that. And if I get off one side, I'll probably just get off it altogether.
Okay. So I'm looking at my I played Yahoo, but I'm looking at my FanDuel lineups. I have just 3 out of my 150 with Logan Webb. I actually have more Robleski than Webb. I have more Gavin Williams than Webb. I have Kyle Freeland on 15%. I'm going pretty heavy on Peralta, Cease. They're each at 18. Singer, Kirby are at 13, and then I got a whole passel of people between 7 and 10% here with Rodriguez, Valdez, Zach Gallen, and Lopez. So it's kind of a spread out crew here. I used the stacks tool. I ran some 3-3 stacks today on FanDuel. Usually I like 4-4 or 4-3 just because of the way the synergy hits up. You get more points for proportionally for runs and RBI, whereas DraftKings is weighted a little bit more towards home runs. So I was trying to figure out a way to take advantage of that. I'm just screwing around in the nickel and the quarter there with 150 lineups each, but wanted to try a couple things out since we had all the lineups earlier. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. It's been a while since I've run 150 on FanDuel here. Let's see, who have we not mentioned that is worthwhile? We talked about KC. How do you feel about Baltimore? We have I'm blanking on his name, the guy who was just coming off the concussion protocol here. They're not Westbrook, the other guy. Keston Hurstad.
Oh yeah. He's back.
He is back. I believe he's batting 5th tonight.
Yeah, Baltimore is always in play. I mean, said it to Josh yesterday against Eovaldi. I feel the same way about Scherzer here. Like Scherzer isn't the Scherzer of yesteryear. So he's good. He's not a pitcher I want to go out of my way to pick on, but Baltimore is always in play because of their power upside. And they're not going to be high owned because they're expensive against Scherzer. So yeah, for sure in play for me.
All right, chat making fun of me. When are you not playing one lineup? I'm playing one lineup on Yahoo. I play my one lineup there.
No, they're saying it to me probably.
Oh, to you.
I'm playing one lineup. I'm not even reading it, but
oh, gotcha.
Usually I play 3 to 4 lineups, but we're doing the show. It's Saturday night. I've got some stuff to do, so only playing one tonight.
All right. Yeah, I had. Oh, it's funny. In so I write the Spotlight Pitchers Top Stacks free article. You have free articles out there most days of the week as well. I've got somebody he tweets at me, tells me how bad my articles are, and then he deletes all his tweets. So last night he was telling me how bad my stacks were. It's like, dude, do you not even read this? Like on Coors Field slate, I'm like, do you guys really need me to tell you Coors is the best offensive environment? No, you don't. Same thing with Cincinnati, a lot of times with the Dodgers, right? So I do like a main slate and a late slate, and I talk about different things. So he wanted to bet me $1,000 that his stack would be better than my stack. And I'm like, where's the point in that? By the way, Oakland was my stack last night. So I wonder if that's why he deleted all the tweets. Man, you come at the king, you best not miss. Yeah, you know what else I said in that? Don't play Jeff McNeil. He's having a horrible year. He had 2 home runs last night, right? So what does that prove? That was that proof? Not a goddamn thing. It's just like I've written over 5,000 articles. I'm still here. I'm consistently better than bad. That's the whole point, right? So we're trying to help everybody get better. But yeah, somebody who's just not happy. I got my bet right in the article. It is a nice article yesterday. I'm sure lightning is going to strike me now because that's how it works when you roil up the fantasy gods. So, but in any event, I was just laughing at that. I went to go look at his tweets this morning, and yeah, he didn't. But point being, he probably would have picked Colorado. Well, was Colorado a good stack last night? What did they have? 7 runs? No, because Cave had a pinch hit, home run, and a double, scored 2 runs, and they had 3 of the 4 or 3 of the 7 RBI. Half the stack came from a bench player. So it's like you survive, try not to redeposit, have fun, maybe withdraw. That's the whole point of fantasy sports. So anyway, always gets me laughing when I see that. So what else we got here? Feels if you were going to, who's your who would be your leverage pick? Who would, if you were staring down one of the popular pitchers, who would be like a 3-man stack against it?
Good question. I don't think any pitcher is getting enough ownership where I think that's really in play. I think all the offenses against the popular pitchers are in play because a lot of them are good offenses, but there isn't one I look at and I'm like, I want that because of the leverage,
Yeah, that definitely is the way to do it. Let's see. What else do we have? We should do the lineup generator. We'll do that in just a sec here. We'll give producer Mike a chance to get that fired up. I told you guys all about getting the 50% deposit match up to $250 on Underdog. They have the best ball contest going on right now. They have same day contests, drafts for baseball going on right now. It's basketball. I love playing the same day drafting contest for basketball. Of course, we're a long ways away from that, but it's just food for thought. Eric Lindquist has been talking about how he's been drafting some of the overnight baseball contests and picking out teams that he wants to stack. Where he thinks people are not realizing that they're going against bad pitchers or whatever. And he said it's given him the ability to create much better stacks because he doesn't have competition for the second best team, or a lot of people are not trying to find correlation there. So you guys can have fun in that. If you are in the if you're a member of Stochastic here, you can talk strategy in the various Discord channels about how to do those live drafts. Plus, we got best ball channels, we got the free best ball content, etc. So it's definitely a good time here. What do you got for your home run calls?
So for my home run calls, I am going to go with Alec Burleson off of Bryce Elder.
We didn't talk enough about. Give us a few thoughts. Other, you said Bryce Elder kind of bad. You mentioned the Cardinals. Is there anybody else you want to call out amongst the Cardinals? There?
I like the top of their lineup. I like their whole lineup actually. Wynn, Burleson, Contreras. Those are my favorite three. But Arenado, Gorman, Donovan, all of them are in play. I don't think Elder's very good. So yeah, I think St. Louis is definitely in play tonight.
All right. Let me see who my home run player is. I got the wrong stuff up, and this is dead air, and we don't like dead air because it's not fun. The only thing worse than dead air is a dead ant. Dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant. See what I did there? No one's going to get that joke. Well, it's for an audience of me. Oh, there we go. We're going with Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, he's only the home run king. Think about this. Two MVPs at the top of that lineup. They're missing the third. But the reigning MVP in Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman won one a couple years ago. You got Teoscar Hernandez, the home run champion, and then Will Smith, who's basically a god this year at catcher. That is a crazy top four. And then the rest of the five guys are not even replacement level. This is kind of hard. So we're going with Teoscar Hernandez in that one. There we go. Almost got that one. All righty, let's go to the lineup generator, Mike, if you will be so kind. So let me get my screen a little bit bigger here so I can see that. So let's do FanDuel tonight. So FanDuel, you guys can choose your stack types. You can go 4-4, 4-3, or 4-2-2. You can build dealer's choice on all of these, Mike. You can choose balance, chalky, contrarian for your types. You can lock in a pitcher. You can lock in a hitter if you so choose. You build out up to 20 lineups in your holding pen here. You see one you like, hit save. Don't like it, hit discard. You can build out those lineups and then get to your player portfolio page where you can see all of the different players and how they are represented in your player portfolio there. If you click on one of the players on the right, it will highlight their lineups to the left, bring them up to the top. You can click on the individual lineups there as well. You can swap players out if you like. Just got to do a little bit of mental math there. But if you have the otherwise perfect lineup or something feels a little too chalky or is missing your favorite player, you can swap them out there. When you're ready, you can download that into a CSV, copy that into the CSV upload template for your DFS site of choice. This will either be the main slate for DraftKings or FanDuel, and you're ready to go. The lineup generator is built on all of the other tools that are utilized here at Stochastic, the top stacks tool, top pitchers tool, the leverage, the boom bust, everything, including all the sims as well. Each of these slates is simmed out 10,000 times for the lineup generator, and it is creating thousands of lineups to choose from here. We could have me and Matt and Mike sitting here with a tasty beverage. We could click with the exact same settings, locking in the same players, and we probably would take us at least an hour before we landed on the same lineup. It's a pretty good deal there. Very low price to get in. On the lineup generator, it gets you access to the Discord as well. And if you're in a hurry, you want to build out some lineups, you want to have some fun. Maybe baseball's not your sport, but you want to watch a little bit, have a sweat. It's a cheap way to get in there and get some lineups that are built out that are useful for you. All righty. I think I broke my Zoom because I have a big giant screen of Belman on the other side, literally life size. I don't need glasses to see that. Very, very handsome chap. I got to say that.
Thank you.
All righty. Chat, you got any questions? Fire them up. We'll stick around for a couple more minutes here. We got about 14 minutes or so until lock. When we get these, normally we'll focus in a little more on the later slate as well. It's just a 2-gamer, and Coors Field is one of them. And 2 of the 5 best pitchers are in the other game. So it kind of is like tee against the wind and hope you get lucky and hope you don't get wet is the way to go. I'm probably not playing the late slate tonight. And I normally am a masochist for these types of things. I will be doing some live betting on Hard Rock, the only casino that is available here in Florida, but that'll be fun. Maybe I'll throw down some, I'll probably throw down some cards on Underdog because I can still play there at least. So that is fun. Let me get chat up here and see if anybody had questions. Let me tell you who my DK cash lineup is going to be. I locked in Otani, Witt, and Freddie Freeman, George Kirby, and Framber Valdez, and I was still able to come within 3 median fantasy points of the optimal lineup. So I'm choosing to go that route. I am going to probably take the version that has Corbin Carroll and Andrew Benintendi with Kurt Casale as the catcher. The other option is a 3-man stack of Kansas City. I don't want to play Chris Taylor. He'll probably do his best Jeff McNeil impersonation tonight. But Connor Wong, an interesting guy, batting or playing center. DeLoffy used to do that all the time, playing catcher. But he's 800 more than Casale, so I couldn't quite make that one work. So I think I'm going to go with Corbin Carroll against Kyle Hendricks tonight.
That makes sense.
See, and I'm playing that DK single entries. I usually don't post head-to-heads for that. All right. Doesn't seem like too many chats. Hit that like button for us. Have they posted the slate yet for tomorrow? So tomorrow we're not entirely sure. We'll know.
Yeah,
tonight.
the slate starts at 1. So
okay,
12.
so we'll be at 12 o'clock tomorrow. We weren't sure how they were going to account for that earlier game. Would they have the Roku game? Sometimes they've been playing it at 11:35. Some of the times it's been at 1 o'clock. So tomorrow looks like 1 o'clock. So we will be going live at noon to check that out. There we go. I think that's going to do it. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all being here on a Saturday night. Again, we are just 5 or 6 weeks away from college football and NFL right around the corner. And then lather, rinse, repeat. We're going to do this all over again. You guys can follow Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMac DFS. Shout out to producer Mike. Follow us at stochastic_com. And with that, gamers, good luck.